Hi, I'm Rosie Marie. I'm who initiated getting gardening guidance, working after the election and my worry about food scarcity for people. And so I felt I needed to be proactive and do what I can do to try to help people that may want to learn how to grow some food. And I also reached out to people who are interested in guiding or teaching, and that's where gardening guidance came from, because some people that aren't comfortable with teacher, but they're very, very comfortable with guiding people. So these are just people. We are all people that just want to help people. And so I wanted to give you an opportunity to see my system. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to use the system at all. It just means that you need to have some sort of system when you are gardening. And so I will start with my first one that I did. I did a couple of information for you all. So this is basil. And so I just, on average, I do like 3 little stakes per package. And then those will go into my trays when I plant the seeds, which that is coming in, I think, a couple more videos. But the important thing I wanted to show is this, which is the back of the seed packet. There we are. Oops, it's too. And the back explains to you what are the days to germinate when you plant them, what is the depth, and that just goes for when you're planting the seeds. And then the seed spacing, the height of the plant, and the days to maturity. And the days to maturity are the days from the time you plant the seed in the tray to the time the fruit or the vegetable has met maturity. And so I did basil, and then I went through and I just did lettuce, and then again, the back that explains the days of germination, the depth of the sow, the seed spacing, the height, and the days of maturity. And the seed spacing is very similar to how you have to space in your garden as well. And so I did that, and then I did the cucumber, and again made the 3 stakes. I'm hoping to get better at showing you the back of the seed packet, and so that because it is important. Again, the days to germinate, the depth to sow the seed spacing, and then the height and days to maturity. And again, seed spacing is very similar to what you will need when you plant the actual plants that grow in your garden. And then I did the same with peppers and tomatoes, which I just have cherry tomatoes right this minute. I also have wax beans and green beans and zucchini, which does not like me. I try to grow it, but I can grow other squashes really well. And I particularly like patty pan, and patty pan do great in my garden, and I found miniature patty pans this year to try to grow. But what I wanted to show you is my system and what I do, and I'm trying my best, and I'm sorry if I'm trying to get it where you could see the system. Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger. No, it won't let me. I'm trying to make it big enough where you all can see it easier. Okay. No, it won't let me go past 200. Okay, so this is the system where I am. I grow in Zone 8. I'm in North Carolina. And so let me see if I can, well, no, I can't. I was going to try to zoom in to that as well, but it won't let me. And so you'll see the date seedling started, the name of the plant. Then it goes on to the days to germinate and when to start planting inside. And so for me, I'm in zone 8, so I can technically start planting things in my garden in April. Generally, I'm focused on my strawberries. They usually go out first because they mature very, very quickly. So they're usually my first that goes out. But like for the basil, I need to grow it in house 4 to 8 weeks before the last frost. And then for the lettuce, it's mid-February, and it's another plant that grows really quickly. Then this here is the cucumbers, and they grow very quickly, so I can start them in mid-March, and then by 3 weeks or 4 weeks, once I harden them off, they should be able to be put in the garden. And this is peppers. They take a longer time to grow, so I generally start them at the very beginning of February. And then this is the tomato, which I'm late for, mid to late January. And then this is the yellow bean, this is the zucchini, and then the green bean. And so those are the planting times. And if you don't have a system and you start growing things before they need to start, they mature too quickly, and sometimes they don't grow as well. I've done that myself, and the plants don't do as well because you've given a plant that only needs, I don't know, say it only needs like the cucumber, and it matures very quickly. So if you try growing cucumbers mid-January, then by mid-March they're ready to go, but they can't go out until April. So sometimes they get stringy, and it doesn't benefit the plant at all. And I've learned that from experience. And then we're going to when to harden off. And the reason you harden off, and what hardening off means in zone 8, it's it always means after the last frost. For me here in zone 8, it's March is when we have our last frost, and or the temperatures are 50 and above for at least 2 weeks. And why you harden your plants off is, for me, I have my own little self-contained greenhouse in my house. Again, out of need when I was growing so many plants for my nonprofit. But, and so I can start stuff inside. And so they'll be inside their self-contained little greenhouse that they have. And I have to take them and I have to put them outside. And I have actually little tiny greenhouses. I put them in just plastic greenhouses on trays, and I put the trays in the little greenhouses, and then I put them out, and it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for them to get acclimated to the temperatures outside. And then then it goes, when can plants safely be planted, and that's again 2 to 3 weeks after the last frost, or 2 to 3 weeks, or the 2 to 3 weeks of having the degrees be 50 and above. And then it goes on to the spacing of the garden. And so each plant requires a specific number of inches. So when you're doing basil, it requires about 10 inches in between. And I love basil. I'm Italian. I make pesto all summer long, and so I love it. And I can get a lot of, in a 4x4 container, I can get 4 basils in there, and they grow. You just got to do a lot of pinching off, which I'll teach as we go on. And then you've got the lettuce, and that's 12 to 18 inches, and that's because if you're growing a head of lettuce, which is the seeds that I have, they need to have the space to grow into a head. Now, if you have like arugula or other types of lettuce that doesn't necessarily grow in a ball, but they go straight up, you could put some of those in a tighter space. And then for the cucumbers, they have to be like 18 inches to 2 feet. And I always do that because I usually do them about 2 feet apart. I have a fence across in front of my yard, and that's my little planting for my cucumbers because they grow so rapidly and so quickly. They'll get on top of each other if you don't space them out. And even when you space them out well, they still get on top of each other. And then this here is the peppers. And for the peppers, they need to have 2 to 3 feet. And that's because, again, they need the space in between to grow as best as they grow. And then here is your, these are the wax beans, no, green beans, I think. But these are the wax beans, and they need 20 inches to 30 inches. Again, green beans are very expansive. I usually grow mine on trellises. And so they climb up the trellises, and they can tend to be a little closer because the trellis really helps them grow. Tomatoes absolutely need 3 feet to 4 feet because, especially if they're going to grow really big. For me, for my cherry tomatoes, sometimes I've put them 18 inches apart. As long as they're getting the nutrients and the sun, and I companion plant, which I'll talk about in the future, and you have their companions together, they tend to do okay in a smaller area. And then the last one is the green beans. And again, I took the heights off these packages. I don't believe them. I've been a gardener long enough, but I wanted to be consistent with what I was showing. And then you've got your days to maturity, and each one, you'll see that the ones with the shortest days to maturity are the ones that could be grown the latest. And I know it was short, and it's just the first one. I appreciate that you watched it. I would appreciate, put anything in the comments. Again, I'm making all these videos private. I'm individually inviting anybody involved with garden guidance to the videos. The reason for that is I'd like to get it off the ground, and I'd like for people to feel, I would like people to feel comfortable sharing stuff or asking questions. And by the time it gets a little bigger, that'll be different. But it's a way for us to communicate. I have a message board set up, but I don't want to put it up yet because this is just getting off the ground. And by doing the videos, to me, was a way to go ahead and give us the ability to ask questions. So thank you so much. And let me know how I did.